Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel, the Starlight Witch, and today we are going to do a little bit of a wrap up and a little bit of my experiences and things in the month of January. Um, so, January was actually a pretty quiet month, and I wonder if I am the only person that feels like it flew by, like for the first time, because it usually is such a long month. But this year, it just flew by. I don't know how, but it does feel like it completely went in the blink of an eye for me. And I'm not entirely sure if that's a good or bad thing. But it was mostly a quiet month, and I am very grateful for it. I didn't quite do anything special, except perhaps for. Sorry. Sorry if you can hear that, but in my sort of new filming space, I am sharing set space with my cats. And so if you hear them eating or using their litter box or drinking water or anything, I'm sorry about that. um, but yeah, this is sort of a new thing for me. I am set up in a rather wobbly desk, so if it is also a bit wobbly, I'm sorry, but it's the best that I can do at the moment. Um, but yeah, I kind of wanted to make a video about my planner and my journal, but I think I'm just gonna show you guys in here if you're interested because um, I'm not sure if I have the energy and the time to film such videos. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a long one, and I hope that's okay with you. But if you've been here before, then you probably know that I am a chatty Cathy, and my videos, as much as I try, are usually never short. But hopefully, you're here for the ride. So let's start with my planner. I also kind of have to apologize in advance because this planner, it's my favorite. It's the Always Fully Booked planner. It's made by a small business called Little Inklings Designs, and they are based in Canada. This is my fifth year using this planner, and I don't think I can ever look back. I love them so very much. However, these are made by a small business and they usually go for sale around October of the previous year. And the dated ones, like mine is, once they sell out, they are not restocked. So you could still get a similar version of this planner if you wanted to, but it would be undated and it has a different layout on the inside. So, yeah, I'm sorry if you cannot really get this particular version of the planner, but you can always follow them on social media and be on the lookout for next year's planner, which again, it's usually up for sale around October. So, yeah, this is again made by a small company. You can see here Little Inklings. And this is a reading planner, which is why everything is book themed, and I really enjoy it. I don't have anything work or boring related here. This works for me as a memory planner, as a memory keeper, rather than a planner itself. Although it does have a little bit of a planner in the way that I use it, but it's mostly memory keeping. But I really, really like it. Um, yeah, it does have an illustration here, but I just love to cover mine with stickers. I always cover this page here with stickers. So, it comes with this sticker page. All of these are also stickers that are drawn by Megan. And yeah, in here I tend to keep the the when you get washi tapes, they usually have a little paper stuck to them. If they're pretty, and I mostly buy my washis from small businesses as well, I tend to keep those stickers in here. Though this one was the one that came with my planner. But yeah, I did a little bit of decorating here as well. And then we have some dates to remember with a calendar here, and I have birthdays and holidays and things like that. Then here it has some important info, and it has a space here where you can put basically what your star rating system is, which I think it's different for all of us, really. All of us that use this particular planner have a fun thing going on where we kind of um, do a theme around the star ratings. And this year I did it using quotes from K-pop Demon Hunters. Last year I used Backstreet Boys songs, and in previous years I have used Avengers quotes, and I can't remember the other one. Yeah, there's more. But this year I did quotes from K-pop Demon Hunters. And here you have a space to put the most anticipated books that will be released this year for you. And here is a space to do legends if you color code or do anything like that at the time. Not really doing anything for that. Most people use this for like the different genres that they read or the different formats, and I mostly read the same genres for the most part, and usually on the same formats. So I don't really care to to keep track of that. So I just put a cute sticker, and that's it. But here I have some of my most anticipated books for this year. We have Sea of Charms, which is book three from for of the Spell Shop series. I loved the first two, the Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse, and I read them both last year, and they were amazing. There is a third one coming this year. There's also Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter, which will be published in this month, the 17th, I believe, or around that date. It's by the same writer of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies series, which I also binged last year and loved it. There is The Book Witch, The Sun and the Star Maker. This particular one is by an author that usually writes YA. I do like to read YA, and she has some of my favorite witchy books out there. There is The Nature of Witches is the first one. I can't seem to remember the names of the other two right now. It happens every time I put myself in a spot in the spotlight, or if anyone does that to me, things just fly out of my brain. We also have Graceless Heart by a Latin American author that I really enjoy. Also, The Astral Library, and Now Back to You, which is a romance. And I have these on pencil because I don't think that it's been announced yet, but it's The Last King of Fairy, which would be the first book in the newest Shadow Hunters trilogy by my favorite author, Cassandra Clare. and there is a chance that it will be published this year, but I don't think I've seen an official announcement, so it's only penciled in. But yeah, we will see. And here is the goals page, and usually I just do something nice and pretty on each of the squares, but this year I kind of want to do a bit more of a vision board type of thing. So I haven't done it yet, and it's kind of blank. In here, the actual name of these, which I covered with washi tape, is actually a rating checklist, and it has 5 stars here on this side. But I drew a line here and covered all the 5 stars with whiteout. Well, the tape. I can't remember how that's called right now, but it's like whiteout tape. And most people use this to keep like a list of all the books they read, but I prefer to do that in other ways. So instead, I use this as a sort of wish list for my tarot and oracle decks, and it is kind of long at the moment. It is kind of long, but well, I'm not gonna buy all of these. So it's just to keep track of the things that I'm really interested in, and um, yeah, just to keep them in one place. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to buy them. Then here we have the bookshelf pages. Um, because a lot of the people who buy this planner read somewhere from 100 to 200 books per year, it can hold up to 150 books, but I don't read that much. And I like to color these with the spines of the books that I've read and do that throughout the year. But because last year was such an amazing reading year for me, and I blew past my original goal and everything, I have a higher goal this year, and I decided that this page here is going to be for like more spiritual or divination books, books that I read for my tarot practice or my witchcraft practice or something like that. They're going to go here. And then my fiction books are going to go here. I decorated the background and the bookshelf itself with washi tape, which, yes, especially the background one, I spent an afternoon with an X-Acto blade going there, cutting all of those edges. So, yeah, I do love to decorate. This planner brings me a lot of joy. So, this here is the book series tracker. A lot of people use this differently. They put like numbers in the squares and stuff, but because I don't read as much as most of the people who use this planner do, I rather do it in a different way. So instead, I just write the titles of the books in here and color them once I've read them. And this was because last year I started doing a reread of The Raven Cycle by Maggie Steve Batter, and I finished it this year. So The Raven Boys, the first book I read last year, and the the other three I read in January. So they're here. And yeah, I already need to write down a second series because I just finished today Assistant to the Villain, and I will share that on my February wrap up. But it's such a good book. That's the spoilers. That's just the spoilers. And then we got 3 pages to write quotes down. And here we have a page for pre orders. Since last year, I've been using these mostly to keep track of my Kickstarters, as I'm pretty sure that you can see here. So I put here the names of the Kickstarters that I've backed, and that way I just have, a place where I can keep track of those things and not forget about them. And if I do pre-order books, which I haven't done in a while, then I also put them down here. And then we have the author backlists, which is a space to put previous books by authors that you enjoy and that you plan to read. I haven't filled these up yet, but I do have ideas, some of which come from last year's planner. Sorry, but my cat is using the, the litter box. And I just haven't taken the time to fill these up yet, but I will. And here we have the books to reread and the playlist. I want to color here as well the spines of the books that I'm rereading this year. I'm going to be using this one for those 3 books in the Raven cycle. And here, I guess that you can use it for both music and for audiobooks. But to be honest, I might just use it for audiobooks because, to be fair and honest, I'm not listening to music as much as I used to. And most of the music that I listen to is the same music that I have been listening to since I was a teenager. So I'm sorry. New music and I don't know. It has to be something, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. And I'm sorry about that, but I just don't listen to a lot of new music at all. So I think I'm gonna be using this one um, for audiobooks, but we'll see. Here is a movie tracker because there's only these 2 pages for the whole year. I rather just keep track of the new movies that I watch rather than all the movies that I watch, which plenty of them are actually old movies. So I just use this for movies that are new to me, and I haven't seen any this year yet. So it's empty for the time being. And here there is a TV tracker. And again, I try to only use this for things that are usually new to me. I binged all 3 seasons of Anne with an E in January. Also, there were 3 seasons of Say Yes to the Dress available in Netflix, which I also binged. I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic even though I don't really have a partner, but I still enjoy that stuff. And of course, the last season of Queer Eye. And yeah, that's it for now. Then there is this spread. You can write whichever title you want to give it. People have used this in many ways, like book club picks or book box, subscription box books as well. I am using it for my favorite books. I used to subscribe to book boxes, but I don't do that anymore. So I'm just using it for my favorite books. I put little stickers with the names of the month, and I use my Canon Sew Mini, which is the European name for the Canon Ivy mini printer, to print the covers of the books that I read, and I'm sticking it here. I do plan to color a little bit around it to make it look nicer and, of course, put my star rating. But I already have my January book in there. And here is originally, again, I covered it with washi tape, something that's called the 5-star reads, to keep track of all the books that you rate 5 stars. And so I am repurposing with non books and non tarot and oracle wish list. This is new to this year that did not finish or DNF or post book page. I had an illustrated DNF graveyard on last year's planners, which you could probably see in some of my monthly wrap ups. And here, one that's probably going to be filled close to the end of the year, which is the bookish superlatives. I guess that this is not something that we do at school in Venezuela, but it might be something. For what I understand, it's something that you guys do in the U.S. and in Canada. But this is something that's usually featured on your yearbooks and things like that. So, but this is kind of like an award type of thing. And then this is the A to Z challenge, which you write down the books that you read for each letter of the alphabet, and there's one for a number. And I've already checked four out of this list. And then here we have a rating challenge. And we have a lot of prompts here that are unique to this planner. I've already put two, and I have ideas for a couple more, but I'm not ready to put the sticker there yet. But yeah, this is a fun thing to do as well, and to be filling it up throughout the year. There is more challenges here. We have the on the cover reading challenge, which is reading books with a particular element on the cover. I have not yet checked any here, but this is also very exciting to do. And of course, there is the reading rainbow, reading books with particular colors on their covers. And yeah, and there's a bit of a bonus with a pattern, pastel, rainbow, or multicolor, and your favorite color as well. So this is as well a very fun one to do throughout the year. More challenges here. We have the genre rating challenge, which I don't usually feel because I don't read that varied, I guess. Reading through the ages, so different time periods and around the world, which is reading books that are based on many different parts of the world as well. Then this one is 26 books in 2026. And I think that I'm going to be using this list for romance books because I got into reading romance last year, although I have yet not read many of the most popular romance books out there, but I think I'm going to be filling that up with that. And so, yeah, it's empty, but I'm going to be making said list. Then here, this is also new to this year's planners. We have a bingo board that I decided to use as a vision board bingo. I got the idea from a video from Mystic Mand last year, something that she did on her journal. And I did a version of these on last year planner by myself. And then this year, this bingo was included, and I decided I'm gonna use it in the same way with the vision board. And as all things that I love color, so I had to make it very colorful as well. So this is for me to do things throughout the whole year. And this one is a Tetris board, which again you can use for whatever you like. A lot of people use both of these things based on books. So I've seen them do like a romance theme, and they use this one again to track genres or formats or things like that. I'm not really interested in doing that, so I decided to use it for crafts and hobbies. And so I have different shapes and different colors as well, based on different hobbies. So we have crochet, sewing, video games, baking, embroidery, coloring or painting, and puzzling. And I'm going to be filling these up throughout the year. And to be able to fill it up nicely, more than usual, I've decided to use two different shades of color. So a lighter one when I start doing said craft, and a darker one once I finish it. So yeah. I have this one for when I baked pan de jamon, this one from when I baked pan dulce, and these ones are for a couple of crochet projects that I have going on. One of which is more granny squares from the same blanket that I talked about in my monthly videos last year. And this one is for a Bridget's cross that I am crocheting that I will show you in my February wrap up. Then we have a mini reading goal tracker. So we have all the numbers here. And I put stickers. Most of us use stickers in here to keep track of things. And I'm also coloring the background of the rectangles with the colors associated with the months. You can see here that all the monthly tabs have different colors, and they are always the same colors every year. So I color code some things related to the different months, and I am doing um, that to keep track of how much I read each month, which is really cool. And you can do up to 152, but I don't read nowhere near that much. So, yeah. And here we have a battle of the books. I tend to put my favorite book of each month, and then you sort of end up with a winner at the end of the year. This one is also to keep track of things, but I haven't decided how I'm going to use this yet, so it's empty. And then here is just to collect reading data. So, yeah, just reading data. And same for here. The creator clearly loves her data much more than I do. And so, yeah, there's that. I usually don't completely fill up these pages through the year. And then follow a number of dot grid and lined pages. There's also more in the back of the planner, but one of the first things that I do when I get my planner is to undo the ring binding. I unscrew it and stuff and take out those pages from the back of the planner and put them here with the rest of the extra dot grid and line pages. I don't really like having them at the back, so I put them here at the front, and then I do some other things that I want to have in my planner. This one you should have seen from last year's videos, because I've been doing these for like 4 years in my planner. The idea came from those emails that Goodreads used to send. Let me. Okay, yeah, that's better. The idea came from those emails that Goodreads used to send with your reading of the year, and you would see all the covers of all the books that you've read. And I really like that. So I did this myself with rulers and markers and stamps, and I use again the Canon Zoe mini printer to print the covers. And I stick them here once I've finished them. So you can see here the things that I've read so far this year. These are all my books for January, but we'll come back here in a bit. And I do have a second page because last year I ended up reading almost 60 books or so. So I've decided to extend it, though it is possible that I'm going to have to uh, add more if I read even more this year. In here, I'm keeping track of the decks that I have been using for my daily pulls. These I also did last year, and it was really nice to see them all together. And instead of coloring the background with a marker, I decided to use some of the paper that I use on my journal. I'll show you later. But here you can see the decks that I used for my daily pulls in January. I've yet to put titles or something in here because I know what it means, but I like for it to be more complete with titles and stuff. So this is also incomplete, and so it is this one, which is for video games. Here I have a square to put like a cover of the game, and then I have whether I play it on the Xbox or on the Switch, if I own it or if it's from like a pass, or if I play it at my brother's house and it's his. When did I start? When did I finish? If I completed the story or the campaign, if I completed it 100%, 5 stars for the rating, and here to put the amount of hours that I played. So this also doesn't have like any titles and stuff, so it needs a little extra working here. And I do have a little Animal Crossing tape. Who else is excited about the new update of Animal Crossing? Because I love it. This is empty for now, and this here is meant to be a period tracker that, as you can see, is pretty empty. I have nowhere near finished these spread yet either, so I still have a lot of work to do in here, but I will continue on later on. And then I did this one to keep track of my um, YouTube subscribers, and I have different colors assigned for this channel, the Starlight Witch, and another for my second channel, Guided by Your North Star. And I have little numbers in here. And once I reach these milestones, I plan to color the circle itself with the starlight color and the little triangle inside with the North Star. And there are these two milestones, 50 and 100 subscribers, that I've already reached with the Starlight Witch channel, but I haven't with Guided by Your North Star. So I've put them in here not only to fill those spaces, but also to keep track of that. And that's most of what I have here. On the line pages, I have the interpretations that I did for my yearly envelope, which, if you saw my video of Chanel's end of year tag, then you would have seen those cards, but I wanted to write it somewhere as well. And if I want to go back to it to check up on that, it's going to be there. I need to stick the picture that I took of those cards as well. And here we have the cover for the month of January. And here is the calendar month. And I like to keep track of the books that I read. I put notes when I start reading them, and these little wiggly things that follow until I finish. I have a couple more things in here and some meals that I plan to have that month. Then we have the books to read, which I didn't fill up for January, and I've yet to do it for February as well, and new releases to keep track of, which I haven't. And then we have the weekly pages. I have these for the remaining days of 2025, and then I started with 2026. I have little stickers here when I start a book, and then again when I finish it. And I have the horizontal layout, and this is what my month of January looks like. And then here, a bookish haul, which I use to track the books and the decks that I buy during that month and whether or not they have arrived. And here I keep track of the books that I read, the series that I watch, the movies, if any, and the games that I play as well, if any. And there is a bit of a, you know, the creator loves her data, so of course there is a little bit of data here. And then there is an extra um, dot grid page and an extra line page, and I usually do some sort of collages here with some things from the month. I haven't done January yet, but here we are in February. This is what the cover page looks like, and I've already sort of set up most things here, and I'm doing things a little bit differently as well on my weeklies. But since we are here, and before I show you my journal, let's do a little recap on my reading of this month. So, I should probably start with my first book of the year was The Dream Thieves by Maggie Steve Batter. This is book two in her Raven Cycles series. And I read the first one, The Raven Boys, last year. I've been wanting to reread them for a few years. I think the first time, if my trackers are correct, was 2019. But I really love those books and I've been wanting to go back to them for a little while. But last year I was looking through the deck. I mean, you're probably familiar with the name Maggie Steve Batter because she's the creator of the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. And that deck is loosely inspired by this series. I got it the first time because I was a fan of the author and I wanted to have it. But I was going through that deck with some friends last year and it just really made me want to reread the books. And so I started. And I can't say quite clearly which book of this series is my favorite, but Dream Thieves is pretty close there. I really like it. I enjoyed all three of these books than I did, more than I remember doing, actually. And I don't know, I just really like them. I have figured out that I'm not all that great at explaining the way that I feel about books when I do these videos, but you know, I just really like these books. I really do. And it was very nice to go back to them. I enjoyed them just as much, if not even more, than I did the first time that I read them. And I'm just really glad to be back on their world and with those characters and yeah, just enjoying that. It was really good. Then my second read of the year was Love's a Witch, which is a witchy romance. And it was a lot of fun. It's based in Scotland, though I think it was a fictitious town. And it was funny, it was good. The one thing that I do have to say about that is that all the characters were always horny all the time. They were always, always, always horny. um, so yeah, it felt a little bit insta lovey for from the very beginning, from the moment that the two characters first find each other. But other than that, I mean, it was a really enjoyable read. And I highly recommend it if you like that type of stuff. It's not particularly smutty, although it does have a couple of steamy scenes. or more than a couple. But yeah, just beware that there is a lot of horny people and a really funny grandma in there all the time. There is also really cute pets. I'm just going to say that there's a winged dog and a Highland cow, a mini Highland coo, as they call it, on a wheelchair, and a really sassy blind cat. And I love those animals. It was just so good. Then my third read was Black Heart by Holly Black. This is the third book, the last book in a trilogy. It's called the Curse Workers trilogy. The first book is called White Cat. The second is called Red Glove. And this is the third one, Black Heart. I read the previous two last year. I think starting in November, maybe. I can't remember quite right just yet, but I enjoy them. I really liked Holly Black's Cruel Prince trilogy, so I do want to read some of her other books. And this one actually called my attention. It is YA, but this one, and if I'm not sure what I was expecting really, or if I was actually expecting anything. Katie, cats and couches. She's destroying the couch. Good lord. Um, what was I saying? I'm not sure if I was expecting anything or what was it at all, if there was anything. But this was a lot um, darker than I thought it would be. It is based in a world where people with magic are considered cursed. And of course, when they use their magic, those people are called curse workers. There is a lot of backstory around mob families, a certain magic, sort of mafia. There is a lot of lying, plotting, secret keeping, backstabbing, a lot of stuff like that. And it was a bit darker than I expected because at the end of the day, it's YA, but it was a really enjoyable read as well. I thoroughly enjoyed Holly Black's books so far. I haven't read all of hers, but the ones that I have, they're really good. And then there was my favorite book of the month, which is Cat's People. This is a novel by Tania Guerrero, and this was very, very adorable. It was published last year, and I have been waiting patiently for it to be available in the library. And it's just a really cute story about a black stray cat that people call, well, cat, and the people who feed him and help him. So you see all of these people. There is a girl that feeds a lot of stray cats. It's based in New York, and she feeds a lot of stray cats in New York. She's called Nuria. There is a a widower, a Filipino widower that runs a bodega. He's called Bong. There is a mailman from Puerto Rico. I think is called Oscar, if I remember correctly. I think so. So you have the USPS mailman, and there is a secretive author who's really struggling to get started on his next book, and he's called Colin. And there is a newcomer, a girl just fresh out of high school, who's gone to New York to find a missing relative, or a relative that doesn't know that she exists, and her name is Lily. And so you see their lives um, sort of pan out throughout the book and through their interactions with the cat. And it was just such a heartwarming book. It was wholesome. It was everything that I needed to read. It was so good. It was just so good. It was very, very wholesome. If you need something that feels like a warm embrace, like a sweet salve, a band aid, especially during these hard times that we're living, that book was so sweet. It was so good. I loved it. And there are even some chapters from the point of view of the cat, and funnily enough, they were my favorites. They were so well done. I just loved it. You get POVs from all these five people, and you also get some chapters from the point of view of the cat, and it was just everything. I really love that book. And the last book that I read was Walking with Your Spirit Totem Animals, Discovering the Four Animals That Guide You Through Life. This is by Sean Leonard. And I got this book late last year during the Hay House 50% sale. I got a bunch of books on that sale. But I was especially interested on this one because I love the concept of spirit animals and totem animals and working with animal medicine. And I've been wanting to read a book about this that was, well, written by an indigenous person, right? And actually, Sean is a member of the Mi'kmaq, I think it's pronounced, tribe. Yeah, the Mi'kmaq um, tribe in Canada. And it was a very interesting read. It's not very long, it's actually quite skinny, and I'm still going through them and marking some of my favorite chapters and stuff. And it was a good book. It is mostly his experiences, which I am grateful that he actually shared them because it can help someone sort of understand how to identify your spirit and totem animals. And he does share a little bit about um, the medicine wheel, um, from indigenous perspective here and stuff. What I am a little bit disappointed about is that it doesn't have all that much information on contacting your spirit and totem animals, calling them to you, and being sure which ones they are. There is only a very short meditation that he gives in the book with that purpose, but other than that, there isn't much information about that. He does share, however, a little bit of the animal medicine that the seven grandfather teachings of indigenous culture in Canada um, are taught to them. So we do get seven chapters focused on seven specific animals, but there isn't like a bigger, longer chunk of information about the other animals or where to find that information, because it would be really nice to have a book of animal medicine that included a lot of animals from the indigenous perspective. And I felt that it was lacking a little bit of what I wanted. So it's not a bad book, and I appreciate that it exists. I love the little insight into the lives of indigenous people and indigenous tribes, but I felt it was a little lacking on the things that I really wanted to get from it. Overall, it was a nice reading month. I went through seven books, mostly on audio, And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, and probably something that I didn't share before about the planner is that at the very end, it has a section that is just for reviews. So you get a little space here. Let me show you a blank one. You get a space here to keep some of the details, the title, the author, when you started, when you finish, how long it is, the format, um, genre, and all that stuff, and a few lines to write your thoughts, and of course some stars to give it your rating, and a space to put the cover there, which I really like. And I was terrible keeping up with these last year, but I am being much better this year, and so you can see my little reviews here at the end of the planner. So yeah, that is my planner for this year. And let's have a look on my journal now. This is my journal. This is from Archer and Olive, and I got it last year. I think it was early last year when I got the B one, the very first one that I finished and stuff. Is super pretty. It has these gorgeous holographic foil in many places, and I kind of wanted to save it for something nice, but I didn't know what that nice thing would be, and so I haven't. I don't know, but I needed a new journal. I didn't have the funds to buy the ones that I wanted, and I thought to myself, I have these ones, so let me just use it. Fuck saving it for something special or whatever, let me just use it. And so this is my journal right now. It has these beautiful, again, hollow details. I mean, Archer and Olive are really good at these kind of details. These I added. I have this blank page here because I kind of want to do a spread on the yearly cards. So the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician here, and write some things about that. And then we have my January cover. I've been using the besides the bunch of stuff that I have, because I do have a lot of stuff for planning, but I follow Jessica from Jessica and the Moon here in YouTube, and she does these free printable themes each month on her channel, and she has these plan with me videos, and I really love that. And I find that the themes that she's been choosing, which have been based on astrology, she's an astrologer as well, have been really on point with everything that is happening in my personal life. So I have been using her kits for a few months to do my covers and some of that stuff, because I really resonate with the things that she's sharing. And she does have as well a membership when she does planning around the cycles of the moon. I am not in said membership at the moment, but as soon as the funds allow, I do want to join that. And so the theme for the month of January was actually planning and organizing, and I don't know, words fail me right now. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining my thoughts and explaining myself here, but yeah. There is a lot of these that I'm having to do this year, because a lot of the things that I was trying last year and that I worked for, that I tried to make happen last year, just didn't work out. And I'm realizing that I either need to change my strategy, or I need to change my plans altogether. So this theme really resonated with me, and it's something that I have been working on a lot in January. And so, yeah, and it's also the same color that is assigned to the month of January in my planner. So, my matchy matchy brain is very happy about that. I ended up saving and using these bands that are from decks, and I didn't realize until later that these two come from the two decks. Okay, so here my microphone actually died, and I cannot be arsed to film again the rest of the video. So I'm trying my hand at doing a voiceover for the first time, and I hope that everything goes well and that I can remember at least most of what I was saying. um, so, yeah. um, For what I can recall, I was saying that I ended up using the two bands that you see at the top and at the bottom, and that I didn't realize until much later that those bands actually belonged to two of the decks that I ended up using for my daily pulls in the month of January. So that is a really nice coincidence. Then on the following page, I tend to keep a packing list, which is basically the decks that I'm going to be using throughout the month, and then what I'm tending or the things that I am working on a bigger scale throughout the month. And here I was distracted by the shininess of the paper that I used to decorate, which is very nice. And I did a calendar for the first time because last year I didn't do a calendar page, but I did do one this time, um, for the month of January. And I used little stamps from a shop on Etsy from Germany. It's called Bloody Nose, to keep track of my spiritual practice and the things, the magical workings and things that I did throughout the month, with a sidebar with writings on a small description of my magical workings of the month. So, this is just to keep track of my spiritual practice. That is the only thing that goes here. Then, this is a spread that I didn't do. And then is my monthly envelope. I still have to stick a picture of the cards. But I do have a description, some writings on my cards of the month in my envelope. And this was meant to be a full moon spread, and then it's been, um, most of my writings. I do keep track of the weekly cards that I pull, which if you have seen my end of year wrap up, uh, the tag from Chanel Days, and you would have seen the decks that I use and how I do that practice. And the rest of the time, I started doing the Lionheart's Fruits of 2025 Tarot Challenge last year. But between everything that I had going on, I really couldn't continue. And so I just said to myself that I really like the prompts and all of that stuff. So why didn't I continue it in January? And so I did. I continued those prompts throughout the month of January, along with my daily cards and my weekly pulls. And you can see all of that stuff here in my journal. So these were all of my bits from January. I haven't yet done any work for February, so there is that. That is my journal so far. So now I'm gonna show you the decks that I worked with in the month of January. And we start with the Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot, A Journey Through Yule and Imbolc. This is by Rockpool. And I am a fan of the Seasons of the Witch oracles. I have all of them and I have really enjoyed working with them. So I was curious about the tarot as well, and I am very surprised by how much I really liked it. The production quality on this deck is actually beautiful. The box, the book, the cards, the ribbon, everything is just great, and I really like it. And I paired it with the Enchanted Earth Oracle by Jessica LaHood and illustrated by Amanda Clark. And this is also a beautifully produced deck by Rockpool. I got it last year and I thought it was the perfect pairing for this tarot. So I brought it up. It has these gorgeous holographic edges, and the illustrations are just lovely. I love the keywords and everything. And I decided to add the Seasons of the Witch in bulk oracle to this triplet because I like to do my daily pulls mostly in triplets. And to be fair and honest, I have tried to do bedtime pools and that kind of stuff. I really want to be that girl. I have really tried to be that girl, but it just doesn't work for me. So instead of doing that, because when I do end up doing bedtime pools or something like that, it's usually in front of my altar with my ancestors, with my deities, and I tend to use particular decks that I associate with them. So I was mostly trying to use the Seasons of the Witch oracles to connect with the seasons and all of that in my bedtime pools. But since I'm not doing that moving forward, I just decided to add it to my triplets for my daily pulls in the mornings and see how that goes to see if I like it. Although the art is probably not going to go particularly well with some of the decks that I feel like using. The art style is very particular for these decks and it doesn't go with everything in my collection. But I just want to try it out, and it worked beautifully with the decks that I was working with in the month of January. Obviously, it was going to go perfect with the tarot because they're done by the same artist, Tiana Lukovic. But I wasn't sure how well it was going to go with the Enchanted Earth Oracle, and it ended up working together beautifully. This tarot was a really big surprise for me, and it really proved just how much I really enjoy a Lorian Anderson guidebook. The guidebook was really, really good. It was one of my favorite things about the deck. But I have grown to love Tiana Lukovic's illustrations. Um, at the beginning, I was a little um, gosh, I'm saying so much. I want to slap myself. But anyway, at the beginning, I just wasn't all that fond of the Oracle series because the illustration style is really not my style, not my favorite type of illustrations. But they have grown on me. They have come to grow on me in the years that I have been working with them. And so, yeah, I I want to see how this goes, even if they don't go perfectly together, all of them. And I brought up the in bulk one because the seasons, to me, I really love that North Star card. Um, are just as much about the anticipation and the preparation for the season as they are, throughout the season. Probably the best example to give in this case is the Yule season because, well, we decorate, we listen to the music, we prepare the foods and enjoy them for much longer, like a lot of time before the actual season arrives, because Yule is actually at the very mid end of December, the 21st, 22nd of December, usually. And we start enjoying everything associated with the season and the holiday from the very beginning of December. So I do tend to pull these decks before that season arrives for these very reasons. So I did pull the in bulk deck a lot before the actual season arrived at the beginning of February. And I'll probably be working with it almost until March, when I'll probably change to the Ostara Oracle. So we'll see about that. And I sure do hope that the Ostara Oracle has brighter colors, because I do understand that these artist has a preferred um, color palette that is more earthy and darker and stuff, that my personal preference. So that is one thing that I don't particularly love about the Ostara Oracle, how dark in color, how earthy in color it is. But I still want to try it out and see if it works for me or if it doesn't. So, yeah, this was my combination of decks for the month of January, and I actually really enjoyed working with them. And to end this video, let me show you the decks that I got during the month of January. Well, most of them at least. And we're gonna start with The Wizard's Tarot by Barbara Moore and published by Llewellyn, illustrated by Mike Janssens. Mikey Janssens. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that name, and I'm really sorry about that. Uh, but yeah, this is a deck that has been on my wish list for a very long time. And I actually found a second-hand copy for a really great price and in really great condition on Vinted, and I decided it was time to pull the trigger. It is still in order because I haven't worked with it yet, but it is a really beautiful deck, although this is another case in which the art style, the illustration style, is not precisely my favorite. It's very well, I'm not sure how to describe it. I feel like it's a combination between illustration and photography, and it's a little cheesy, a little outdated, at least in my opinion. Everything that I'm saying is totally my opinion. And there is also, of course, these ideal of beauty that it's on every card on the deck. Everyone is really skinny and young and beautiful. And so is that those aspects about the art on this deck are definitely not my favorite, but I do love all the fantasy themes. I love that death card. It's just gorgeous. And yeah, I certainly love the magical feel of this deck. And I do have an association with these um, aesthetic that goes very well with my favorite fantasy books and that kind of things. That moon card is so interesting. So yeah, I just couldn't pass up this deck. I thought that I would forgive the America's Next Top Model aesthetic of the deck, because the themes and the ambience and everything, every other element about this deck is something that I really appreciate, and it really resonates with me. So yeah, I was lucky enough to get a copy of this deck for a fantastic price, and I'm excited to work with it. Next up, we have a duo of decks, the Playful Heart Tarot and the Peep Speak Tarot by Kitten Chops. And I am on Sarah's mailing list. And in the month of December, she told us that she had very few copies left of the Playful Heart Tarot, and it had been on my wish list for a long time. Look at the details on that box, but I'm pretty sure that most of you have seen this deck, and probably a lot of you already have it. A moment for those gorgeous gold holographic edges. But yeah, it was one of those kind of alerts that said, okay, this is the time to pull the trigger. Because sometimes we want something, but other things may take priority. We might feel like we need them more. But she said that these might be out of print for a while at the very least, as she focuses on other tarot projects. So yay, something exciting. She might be publishing other decks, but this one is going out of print. And you know how it is when that happens. A lot of people get crazy and start asking really ridiculous prices for the deck. So I didn't want to be caught up on that. So I did um, finally press the buy button at the end of December and got this deck as a New Year's present from me to me, which I tend to do a lot. I'm a Taurus, okay? I do love a good present from me to me. So, yeah, I finally got this deck and I actually really like it. I haven't used it yet, but I'm very excited to work with it. It is brilliant cardstock and I love shuffling it. And I just know that I'm really going to enjoy um, working with this deck. And those boxes are absolutely fantastic. I love the top drawer type of box, and the size of these latest edition is actually perfect for my little hands. So that is working a charm for me. And I also took the chance to get the Peep Speak, which I also have wanted for a while, and I am starting a Marseille study with a couple of my friends. We meet almost weekly over Zoom, and we just talk about tarot and oracle and everything really. And we are about to start a Marseille study together. So I wanted to get this beautiful deck as well. It's one of the most beautiful Marseille decks that I have ever seen. It has these lovely um, foil details in the cards and bright colors and those gorgeous backs, and I love everything about it. The size is again perfect for my little hands, and the cardstock is fabulous, and I just know that I'm really going to love working with this deck. Um, Especially since I don't really like very much um, traditional Marseille decks. I don't know what it is that I have against traditional decks, but they don't work all that well for me. And I really like these peeps. That is very rare for me to say that I love a pip deck, but this one is just beautiful. It really is. I don't know what it is about it, but it is whimsical and enchanting, and I really enjoy it. I just really like it. So I'm very excited. I'm even more excited about my Marseille study that I'm gonna be doing with my friends, because I can use this deck and other peepish decks with a lot more confidence, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, this was an exciting acquisition from the month of January. Look how beautiful that deck is. And it does come with some fun extra cards. Look at that. It's just beautiful. That one is my favorite of the extra cards. It's just so cute and shiny. I love the attention to detail on her decks. It's just fantastic. Yeah. So this was my month of January. I hope that you've enjoyed this recap and this look into my planner and my journal, and to see, well, everything that I've worked with. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. And I do have a second channel. I'm uploading a reading for the month of February very soon, probably tomorrow. And I would love to see you there as well. But if not, just thank you very much for being here, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.